So here's a story with the Alter Rebbe related by Rab Mendel Futefas. And I'll tell you, read it to you as Rab Mendel tells the story. So there was a chassid of the Alter Rebbe, very poor. The house was bereft of lacking food and so on, basics. There comes Yontif. So the chassid, forgetting everything, he's going to the Alter Rebbe to the ocean. He comes to the Alter Rebbe, forgets completely about his worries and completely devotes himself to Torah and Avodah. When it comes time to go back and he goes into Yechidus, he has only one request of the Alter Rebbe, that the Chassidus that he heard from the Alter Rebbe should be absorbed in his mind, and he should serve the Eibishter with a whole and sincere heart. He receives such a bracha, and he goes back home. He comes back home, and he's trying to immerse himself in Chassidus, but what can he do? That which he received there by the Rebbe, he cannot live and embrace and work with this at home. The children are asking for bread, the rain is leaking through the roof, and the goat that used to give milk died from the cold, and he doesn't have the presence of mind to devote himself to Avodah. So he decides to go back to the Rebbe. He wraps up his small little bundle, and this time, and the voices, his wife's words ringing in his ear and warning him, when you come to the Rebbe, don't forget to mention our situation, and don't come back without a bracha. Hast gehört, you hear? She tells him, I'll ask, he says to his wife, to calm her. But when he comes there and he sees and listens, this fills listens to Chassidus, it fills his entire being, such that when he comes to the Rebbe, to Yechidus before going back, he thinks to himself, what busha is it to stand in holiness and then to ask, and here Einid Milvadoi, and here to ask, here's where Einid Milvadoi is real, and to ask about physical needs. So he decides he's not asking anything, and so he did. He got a bracha for spiritual avodah and goes back home. He comes back home. First question: no, what did the Rebbe say? Oh, he says for Panos, he says in a low tone, he's embarrassed. I was just embarrassed to ask. This time, she's unforgiving. Leave the house and don't come back without a bracha. He's happy to go back. Okay, so he goes back now, back to the Yozhna. But he's going to have to ask for a bracha for Gashmias. And he's there for a while. You can get to the rest of the story. Third time. And he's standing in the Rebbe's presence and trying to get the words out, but he just can't. He can't say it. He stands in silence. The Alter Rebbe, who felt this, says to him, this is the Alter Rebbe's words to him. Above, Lamaila, there are certain neshamas which are called, I don't know what the Yiddish word is, but artificial neshamas. What means artificial neshamas? During their life, they didn't learn not Torah, not mitzvahs. But before they left the world, they had the true tshuva. So these neshamas come above, and they really cannot come to a place of menucha, because Gehenim not, they did tshuva. Gan Eden, and Eden you have to come with garments, and the garments are created by Torah and mitzvahs, and these neshamas don't have Torah and mitzvahs. So what happens to these neshamas? The Alter Rebbe said, I hope I have the third page. Prepare this to flip. So these neshamas stand before the master of the world, and they plead, please send us down again to this physical world, and there we will do mitzvahs and acquire the garments that we should be able to receive the Ziv HaShechina. And we take upon ourselves, plead these neshamas to live a most difficult physical life, but it's all worth it. We should come to Menucha. The Alter Rebbe said to him, your neshama was of these neshamas, and you merited. It's not all neshamas' requests are received. Your request to come down was accepted on high, and therefore be happy in your lot and go back home. This is your shlichus, and do avodah b'teich simcha v'tov levav. Now let's end the story. Rav Mendel, when he told it about the foot of us, told the story by a Fabrengen, he said, in our generation, I'm quoting Rav Mendel, to our Tsar, there are many that their whole life is the situation, and through no fault of their own, there's no Yiddishkeit. Then it comes at the twilight of their lives, Hidayah, at the end of their lives, and God forbid to leave the world with nothing. So therefore, he's responding to the Rebbe's, one of the Rebbe's campaigns. The Rebbe came out, Tiferes Keinim and Chachmas Nashim, to make koilalim for retired people, elderly people, and to learn. So let's, he said, do these neshamas a great favor. And in the end of their life, everybody should be involved in this mitzvah to give shiurim, etc., and put on film and visit the old age homes, etc., so that they merited to have the garments necessary to receive Mashiach, not to live, and enjoy the true menucha in the fullest and richest and deepest sense. Tomorrow, Billionaire, I'll tell you a similar story that the Rebbe told in the early years, Tafshin Yud Aleph, and actually Tafshin Yud. Similar, but not quite. So I'll tell the story, B'ezras Hashem, tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we start the new Maimer tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shkoyach.
Bye.